Hi everyone, this is Kevin from Supernatural Selection. Are you an independent creator? Do you have a webcomic or an Etsy store? Do you 3D print things? Or are you just looking to get some word out for your Discordian cabal with social terrorism? Well, we'd love to help. And David, I believe you've got some details about how we can help.
Why, certainly. If you go to supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, that is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, you can learn how to advertise with us.
That's right. I believe the rate is $2 per episode. You can't beat that with a stick.
I mean, trust me, we've tried.
Yeah, that's cheap. That's literally cheaper than dirt.
Mm-hmm. And best of all, if you're not sure how to write an ad, we'll do it for you. We'll even record it.
Absolutely. Just let us know what you need in the ad, and we'll be happy to do that for you.
And again, that URL is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact.
And now, back to the show. Does anybody remember how to do this?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It's been a little bit. The holidays were a thing.
Now, would you say it's been a while?
It's been a while. And hello, and welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin. With me this week are Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Were the holidays good to you?
No, because I'm tired.
As am I, Mike, as am I. And we also have tired David Davis with us. David, how are you?
Tired, interestingly enough.
Wow.
Yeah, you're the only one who didn't introduce yourself. With a superlative in your name.
Yeah.
You're just not feeling all that superlative?
Not really.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, it's after the holidays. We're not going to get into my mental health tonight.
No, that's fair.
That's for a show we don't do. So, let's see here. We got housekeeping. That's a thing. Season 4 begins soon in May.
Yes. In May. Okay.
We
that's not super soon. That I heard you mention
actually,
something
it's
about season 4.
5. Season 4 ends.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Shit. Yeah. How long have we been doing this show now?
About 4 years total.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun.
a little while.
Yeah. So ignore that bit of housekeeping.
No, it's cool. Tell me, how does that make everybody feel?
Gassy.
Wow. I'm gonna say 4 years well spent with my buddies.
Aw, that's sweet.
So who are you hanging out with then?
Deft Beck, obviously.
Yes, obviously Deft.
I am turgid about it. I am engorged. Anyway,
Jesus.
also, David, have you got something you want to throw into the housekeeping there?
I figure I'll just save what I'm doing for the plugs at the end.
Okay, well, don't forget to join our Discord, though.
Yes.
We're having a good time. We got some great people in there, and we're making a community. So when the apocalypse happens, these are the people that you will know living in the compound.
Yes, the compound that we will get eventually.
The Supernatural Selection compound that will inevitably happen will be populated by our Discord.
Kevin, the only compound we can afford is Compound W.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
For those not old enough to remember that was an ointment that used to be sold, like, I think the last commercial I saw for that was like the 80s.
Probably.
Sounds about as old as ancient Chinese secret.
Well,
Yes.
we're going to have to make some preparation.
And a
Preparation H. Yeah.
God.
Oh, here's one for the over 40 set. So, This week, we've got something really interesting. It's a follow-up to one of David's more recent episodes. And, David, that being said, I'm going to throw the reins over to you, so try not to direct this horse off a cliff.
I'm crashing with no survivors. Hello, everyone. We are back. Happy New Year. Let's listen to me read about stupid and terrible shit. It feels fitting.
I want everyone to know how much work David puts into these things, so thank you, David. Roll for sanity.
At disadvantage. Okay, so today we're going to follow up on a thread from last year. In fact, I think it was the last major episode I wrote.
Yep.
Yeah, where we covered the stupid, worthless life of one Heinrich Kramer. May he burn in hell. Kramer was the primary author and potentially the only author, despite the purported co-authorship by Jacob Springer, of today's subject, the Malleus Maleficarum, also known as the Hammer of Witches.
Now, somewhere in a higher dimension of which we know nothing, Jacob Springer is shouting, "Don't bring me into this shit!"
Yeah, you got a pretty raw deal with that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, you remember all this, right?
A bit. I try not to commit too much to memory.
That's fair.
Yeah, just memory overflow.
Yes.
So, this book, the Malleus Maleficarum, does two things. First, it provides a theoretical and ecclesiastical backing for the connection of witchcraft to heresy, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Second, it serves as a guidebook in how to charge, sentence, and punish heretical witches. Because if there's one thing we remember about Heinrich Kramer is that he believed everything was heresy.
And women were the devil.
Yes, they were inherently heretical. All of this in this book, of course, was prefaced by the papal bull Kramer was granted to serve as an inquisitor, which we pointed out was used fraudulently beyond the scope of the writ. It's just one of the many intellectually dishonest, cruel elements of Kramer's life story.
You know what it kind of sounds like? It's like getting a hall pass and then deciding that gives you the authority to take hostages.
Exactly. You just go in the bank, pull some money out, hall pass. So, if you haven't listened to that previous episode, I would suggest pausing here and going back to listen to our episode, Heinrich Kramer, the weirdo scammer who burned women.
Fucking name.
Anyway, with that previously established, for this week's episode, I'm strictly pulling from the Montague Summers 1928 translation of the Malleus Maleficarum, and this is available for free from sacredtext.com. This is literally the only source I am using this week.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, you don't get names like Montague Summers anymore.
Yeah, no, we need to bring Montague Summers back. Just
I say,
yeah.
Montague.
So, what we have this week, gentlemen, is basically an episode of our Supernatural Sources series.
Yeah, which, if you don't know, Supernatural Sources is where I get one of my source books, and I read it at people who scream for me to stop.
Now, lastly, for the women who listen to our show, believe it or not, I also want to warn you that I am reading the words of a sexist crank, and we are laughing at the absurdity of it all. The vibes are fucked.
This is probably going to have the same vibes as when Robert Evans finds a new book by Ben Shapiro.
My favorite episode.
So I know. Right. Mike, you've heard a couple of those, right? The Ben Shapiro one?
Some of the stuff you've listened to, but not listen to it on my own.
Okay, well, he usually gets the Some More News folk on and then reads those
as you should.
As always, yes.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the Malleus. So, we'll just go ahead and dive right the fuck in with question 1 of the first part of the Malleus. Now, the book is divided into 3 parts, and it's kind of structured generally around question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Anyway, the first question of the first part of the Malleus reads, quote, "Whether the belief that there are such beings as witches is so essential a part of the Catholic faith that obstinacy to maintain the opposite opinion manifestly savors of heresy." I just want to note there's no question mark in that question.
And then it's just followed by the word yes.
Right. So there's kind of a format to a lot of this. So we'll go ahead and just, a lot of this is going to be me just like picking out specific quotes and making you guys listen to them. So.
Thanks, Dad.
Right. So we're going to start with this quote. Quote. Moreover, every alteration that takes place in a human body, for example, a state of health or a state of sickness, can be brought down to a question of natural causes, as Aristotle has shown in his 7th book of Physics. And the greatest of these is influence of the stars. But the devils cannot interfere with the stars. This is the opinion of Dionysius in his epistle to S. Polycarp. For this alone God can do. Therefore, it is evident that demons cannot actually affect any permanent transformation in human bodies. That is to say, no real metamorphosis. And so we must refer to the appearance of any such change as some dark and occult cause.
So, this is Kissinger reading it.
Yes. I'm going to be doing some very poor Henry Kissinger throughout all of this.
Jesus Christ, we're in for a ride, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And these are fucking dense ass quotes. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So I feel like Heinrich Kramer is firmly in the camp of like, no, God can't make a rock so heavy he couldn't lift it. Like that's the vibe I get from him.
Mm-hmm.
So what we see laid out in theory here is that the maladies associated with witchcraft are not of demonological origin. Instead, I typed it as Kramker.
Fair enough.
Kramer pulls from opposition that these are from dark and occult causes. But my question is, wouldn't demonological influences be considered dark and occult causes?
Well, no, because that's, actual true religion stuff. Right?
I mean,
demons are part of the faith, therefore they're they're not occult or.
So they're still part of the Catholic faith, but the occult is outside of that. Okay, because I was just gonna say that this guy is. It sounds like he's saying the occult can do what demons and, more importantly, God can't do, and he sounds kind of like a shitty Christian to me.
He is definitely the shittiest of Christians, for sure. But he's very much... Mike is right on the money with that kind of analysis of,
Very good, Mike.
Yeah. So,
I smart.
Mike, you're right on with that one. So
you make us go.
So Kramer sees this as the case. A lot of what Kramer lays out throughout the book, and I just keep thinking of like Kramer from Seinfeld,
Jerry,
which makes it really interesting.
Jerry, there's demons. Just dressed in a pilgrim like outfit.
Oh my God, dressed like Cotton Mather. That'd be great.
So a lot of what Kramer lays out throughout the book ends up contradicting stuff written earlier as we go on. It's a lot of back and forth because this is him also kind of hammering out that argument of, witchcraft being heresy, and that's why you should punish witches with the maximum, maximum that you can. So it's a lot of him kind of going back and forth and going between these questions and everything like that. But there's a lot of contradictions in there, and it's just like the Bible.
Now, I want you to hang on for 1 second, not to be, the big defender of the faith here. The Bible is compiled of dozens of books and scrolls and sources with very little editing to make them fit together as a cohesive narrative and assembled by a committee, and this was written by a shithead.
Potentially two shitheads, if you believe the theory.
I do not believe the theory, but
what about the lore? What does the lore say?
Oh, man, I don't know. Somebody call Aaron Mankey and we'll find out.
So, one thing, I think that quote will show us that it is, by our standards, poorly written.
Oh, yes.
And what he will do is he will kind of like jump from opposition to his own positions with little forecasting or transitions, except for like a specific transition that we'll get into because I'm very excited about this bit in a bit.
Okay.
So it's a very painful read. It is a very painful read.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So if we're trying to keep track, Kramer is pro witches being real and having very real powers. permitted by God for reasons. And we'll get into this in a couple of minutes.
So God made women for him to hate. Got it. All right.
Pretty much. That's the vibe of all of this. So much of what he's doing with these questions is taking like these different ecclesiastical theories regarding demons, magic, and the like, and comparing them to kind of cobble together something that sounds authoritative when he isn't bitching about people being heretical in their views on the minutiae of practicing faith. Like when we covered Kramer's biography, we spent some time talking about all this lineage of thought that informed the approach here, because we kind of went into that tangent about demonology.
And
right?
wasn't he just really pissed about the Eucharist?
Yes, that is one of those common things for Heinrich Kramer, is being pissed off about the Eucharist.
Which is weird.
Now, to put it succinctly, there are a lot of different theories in this chapter that he disagrees with, and Kramer kind of puts them into three camps, or what he calls errors. So, those who do not believe in anything like magic, those who acknowledge witches but find their works illusory, and, confusingly, a third group who sees witches and their spells as illusory, but the devil helps out. Yeah, and all three positions here Kramer describes as, quote, plainly heretical.
Or in modern parlance, stupid.
Also, Kramer is a big fan of threes, as he establishes that witches fall into three archetypes. Quote, namely those who injure but cannot cure, those who cure but through some strange pact with the devil cannot injure, and those who both injure and cure.
You realize you just described Black Mage, White Mage, and Red Mage from Final Fantasy, right?
Perfectly balanced party.
Absolutely. That's all you need. Forget the fighters, just the mage group.
Now things are going to get a little kinky here. Let's dive into question 3, posed in the first part of the Malleus. Quote, whether children can be generated by incubi and succubi.
All right, break out your lube. Get your pictures of Morrigan from Darkstalkers. We are ready to go.
I do appreciate a good Darkstalkers reference. So the first theory is laid out in this section. Quote, but it may be argued that devils take their part in this generation not as essential cause, but as a secondary and artificial cause, since they busy themselves by interfering with the process of normal copulation and conception by obtaining human semen and themselves transferring it. So...
Okay.
So first off, what form of cuckoldry is this? What are they doing with the semen? How do they get it? Do the hells have dedicated cum imps? Is that the worst job in the world of demons?
Look, it's Greys. This is the Greys. They are the cum imps. I'm putting this into the alien canon. Anybody have any objections?
Nope.
Several, but not to that.
So
okay.
do they just cup their hands and carry it from a dude?
Oh, God. I have a handful of spoo for you, my lord.
Wouldn't this be easier if we just snowballed it into each other's mouths?
Look, I have a cup.
No, not my coffee cup.
I can go get a cup from the kitchen. Good
Okay.
God.
Yeah, a lot of this is me just picking out like the most ridiculous quotes I can. So,
Right.
now, this is also a prime example of a major format in the first part of the Malleus. Heinrich hits us with a big old Phoenix Wright objection.
Mm-hmm.
So, case in point. Objection! The devil can perform this act in every state of life, that is to say, in the matrimonial state or not in the matrimonial state. Now, he cannot perform it in the first state because then the act of the devil would be more powerful than the act of God, who instituted and confirmed this holy estate, since it is the state of continence and wedlock, nor can he effect this in any other estate, since we never read in Scripture that children can be gotten in one state and not in the other. So, yeah, our semen is safe, guys. You don't have to worry about this.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So yeah, like marriage being that kind of biblical union created by God, therefore the devil cannot interfere with that.
Well,
That's the
I'm
theory.
I'm single, therefore my semen's at risk.
Uh-oh. Mike?
No, he says not in the he cannot perform in the first state. And then he also says he can't, nor can he affect this in any other estate. So
But I don't live in an estate. I live in a house. But no, but then okay. So okay, I guess I get it. I guess.
No, it's a lot of garbage. So Heinrich is
So
pointing
he's saying
out,
is no hot succubi are coming for me.
unfortunately,
Oh
not.
goddamn. Then what am I been saving up for?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Here come the Greys.
Heinrich is pointing out that if the devil were to interfere with the process in a matrimonial state, it would make him stronger than God, which is not true. This is, Heinrich would probably take a stick to you and beat you, because remember, he had that club and stick.
Oh, that's right. He had the heretical stick.
Yeah, so if you were even suggest something like that, he'd beat you with it. After all, matrimony is the creation of God, and in the creation of children is reflective of the state of continence and holy union. So
Now, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Is he saying that Satan can't fuck? Because that show Lucifer, the DC show, that gave me other ideas about this.
Oh, Lucy fucks.
Oh, he has to.
Absolutely.
Also, I was trying to hit something earlier, but Discord slowed me down, David.
yeah,
And,
Objection!
so, yeah, just want you to know it's there.
absolutely,
Yeah.
perfect. So yeah, like the world of demonology is very tricky here because there's all these different things. We're specifically looking at, in this case, like Kramer is taking all these different theories about like incubi and succubi and that sort of thing, and then he's comparing it to his belief because he's again trying to create this kind of backing to support his idea that witchcraft is an inherently heretical practice.
Mm-hmm.
So Heinrich continues, laying out another theory of the time, quote, "Yet it may be said that these devils assume a body not in order that they may bestow life upon it, but that they may, by the means of this body, preserve human semen and pass the semen on to another body." So you basically become you become like a jizmech.
Jizmech.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that's one of those theories, right? So here comes Heinrich explaining the mechanics of this as they are to have been theorized. Objection.
Objection!
As this is the action of angels, whether they be good or bad, there is nothing superfluous and useless, nor is there anything superfluous and useless in nature. But the devil, by his natural power, which is far greater than any human bodily power, can perform any spiritual action and perform it again and again, although man may not be able to discern it. Therefore he is able to perform this action, although man may not be able to discern when the devil is concerned therewith.
So what I'm understanding is the devil here is a really busy guy. He's like running all over, like possessing people for their sperm or something.
Yeah, Big King Gunnar.
I mean,
God damn it! Don't take Goon from us.
That's a lot of like running around. If there's only the one devil and none of his demons can do it.
That's always one of those things that fascinates me about all of this. It's always the devil, right?
Yeah,
Not
he's
a
not.
devil.
He can't delegate that shit. Apparently, he really
Right,
needs to
right.
learn. He's gonna like burn himself out.
He's not a very good manager.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he hires the Greys. So now,
All
now
right. All right, Satan, I guess I'll do this cum job for you once.
so this was like 6 paragraphs of cum swapping. Man, I don't know what to tell you.
He man, he was well ahead of his time. He would have went buck wild on the internet,
Right?
Yep.
It just
on Pornhub.
spiritual snowballing.
Oh, God.
So he eventually gets to theological writings on the like nature of incubi and succubi, but overall, a lot of it is trying to rectify contradictory elements of scripture and interpretation.
Now, I'm kind of hung up on something you mentioned earlier, on the nothing useless in nature thing. Did they not know about the appendix back then? Or middle management?
Or just male nipples?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That too.
Oh, you mean witches' marks?
Well, I don't mean nubbins.
No, not nubbins. Like just
Okay.
regular
Just
male
regular.
nipples.
Yeah, nothing useless in nature. Then what the fuck are these for?
I mean, okay, sure that we're not going to get into that, but like, biologically, they don't really do nothing
Yeah.
except get chafed sometimes.
Exactly. So the question is, can the devil steal your baby batter?
Oh, God damn it.
So Kramer answers.
Maybe he has to ask nicely.
That's not stealing. That's
Well, that's what I'm saying.
begging for cum.
That's what I'm saying. Can he steal it? No, he has to ask nicely.
Please,
Maybe-
can I have your spoon?
Maybe offer a somewhat adequate trade.
I'll give you Belgium for your cum.
Jesus Christ.
God, no.
You remember how Jesus,
Devil.
he offered all the nations of the world to Jesus? Just Belgium for your baby batter.
Devil, God, no. Who the fuck would want Belgium?
Apologies to any Belgian
I'd
listeners.
rather leave my spoo in an old sock.
Jesus.
Love your waffles.
Yes, fair enough.
Look, this is Belgium also well before oh gosh, I can't remember what it is now. Back before they were the premier arms manufacturer in the 1900s.
They were still, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is a wrong podcast for that.
Well, I was just saying
For
Belgium
what I was gonna
does
do.
have some
Oh, they've got problems.
good qualities, redeeming qualities. That's what I was trying to say.
Anyway, back to cum.
Yes, let's wade knee deep back into the cum, David.
So Kramer, can the devil steal your junk? Yeah. Kramer answers, quote, and as to their intelligence, he will find that they excel in 3 points of understanding, in their age-long experience and in the revelation of the higher spirits. He will also find how, Jesus Christ, through the influence of the stars, they learn the dominating characteristics of men, and so discover that they are more disposed to work of witchcraft than others, and that they molest these chiefly for the purpose of such works. Sorry, that was my cat.
No, that's fine.
So specifically, Kramer addresses from the Book of Sentences, circa 1150 BCE, that God, quote, for his own glory, permits them to work against his will, which was something I think we discussed during the theological underpinnings of Kramer's views when we did his biography. But also, Mike, you brought that up just a few minutes ago. So guys, why God do this?
Dude, I think he just implied that Satan and the demons are God's sock puppet accounts.
Yeah. It's the same energy, definitely.
It's definitely got that Elon vibe.
Right? So
yeah. Welcome to the spiritual 4chan.
It's like this was a very difficult one to do because a lot of language is just very, very circular.
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much sock puppets, I guess. It's like, beating up a really weak person. God lets these things be, against him. He's like, hey, you can't fuck with me. It's like egging on like a 300-pound boxer egging on a 100-pound dude to like punch him.
I was gonna make a
you,
Jake
coward.
Paul and Mike Tyson reference, but no, Jake Paul is a pretty big guy too.
Yeah,
he was beating up on a senior citizen. That was what was going on.
That's different.
So
that's what it should have been the headlines. Jake Paul punches senior citizen.
Exactly. So
headline was on AARP.
So to kind of answer this question, I want to turn to the 12th question posed in the first part of the Malleus, where Kramer lays out an answer to this question of, quote, whether the permission of Almighty God is an accompaniment of witchcraft.
Oh, no.
Quote, But God is the universal controller of the whole world and can extract much good from particular evils, as through the persecution of the tyrants came the patience of the martyrs, and through the works of the witches come the purgation or proving of the faith of the just, as will be shown. Therefore it is not God's purpose to prevent all evil, lest the universe should lack some cause of much good. Wherefore St. Augustine said in the Enchiridion, so merciful is Almighty God, that he would not allow any evil to be in his works unless he were so omnipotent and good that he can bring good even out of evil. So
that logic isn't just circular. That's like, some Gordian knot logic there.
Well, this...
Go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say, it's like God is like, well, I got to have something to do, so Satan.
Yeah, you got to seed a hobby into this after I make the earth, right?
It's God's version of his home remodeling after he retires. Gonna fix that basement. He's always been meaning to, turn into a speakeasy and go to the Piccadilly and have lunch with his friends.
So he let Satan loose in the basement so he can fix the pipes later.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you see? Just like the old man that wants something to do will let the rats eat his wiring just so he can fix it again, right?
I really thought you were gonna say eat his grandchildren.
Yeah, that too. Okay. That's the thing that happens, right?
Sure.
I see the logic as weird as it is.
I mean, there's logic
trying to have it both ways here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get where he's going with this. That in order for God to show that he is almighty, you sometimes have to have a witch running around, I guess.
This is like paying someone to come and mess with you at the bar so you can impress your girlfriend.
Yeah, or it's like the guy kicking over the sandcastles at the beach in Futurama.
Oh, here's the thing. All those examples are pretty shitty people.
You don't say.
So, I that's kind of the motivation for why God would permit Satan to steal your jizz. So, and also the reason why we have witches apparently. So, anyway, back to question 3, which is talking about incubi, succubi, the crossbreeding, and that sort of thing. I know you guys are gonna like this. Where do giants come from?
All right, angel fucking, let's do this.
I was going to say their mothers.
Yes, but their mothers are the daughters of men and their fathers are the sons of God, which doesn't make a lot of sense unless it's polytheistic, but we're not going to go there.
That or, these poor women, if they're giving birth to giants and they're just humans.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like Ed Larson's mother.
Just passing a turkey.
Yep.
So Kramer fills us in here. Quote, but as Walafrid Strabo says in his commentary upon Exodus 7:2, and Pharaoh called the wise men and the magicians, devils go about the earth collecting every sort of seed, and can by working upon them broadcast various species. See also the gloss on those words, Pharaoh called. And again in Genesis 6, the gloss makes 2 comments on the words. And the sons of God saw the daughters of men. First, that by the sons of God are meant the sons of Seth, and by the daughters of men, the daughters of Cain. Second, that giants were created not by some incredible act of men, but by certain devils which are shameless towards women. For the Bible says giants were upon the earth. Moreover, even after the flood, the bodies not only of men, but also of women, were preeminently and incredibly beautiful. So, just a little thing to think about when we cover giants in the future.
Also, you're implying that we were hotter before the flood. Got it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we
even
all
after
look
the
like
flood.
drowned sacks of rats now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We all know that's bullshit because the giants were the Nephilim and they were talking about rocket ships. Let's not forget our Sitchin.
Exactly, we know the truth.
Yeah, you can't pull the wool over our eyes, motherfucker.
So yeah, that's how we get giants.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, so you know what else witches can do?
What's that?
Take away your penis or turn you into a dog.
Dan to Dan once again invades our podcasts.
Which got your
So-
penis? She's just their thumbs between her pointer finger and her middle finger. Which got your penis?
Oh,
Is that
like
a baby carrot? So, question 9. We're still in the first part of the Malleus, by the way.
man, fuck this book.
Question 9 has the banger title, quote, whether witches may work some prestidigitory illusion so that the male organ appears to be entirely removed and separate from the body.
I mean, isn't that just what I'm saying? Which got your penis?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's exactly it. It's like, I got your nose, but I got your dong.
Is that how prestidigitation works in Dungeons and Dragons?
You're just
Probably.
waggling your
Just
fingers.
little finger gestures, like I got your
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah, no, you go, woo, and then somebody hits him over the head with a club.
I love that title though.
Prestidigitory illusion is a good
So
word.
the male organ appears to be entirely removed and separate from the body.
And it just appears.
Oh,
It
hey,
doesn't
yeah.
say it actually is.
It's running
that's
around.
The distinction. That is
You
the
see it
distinction.
running around on the ground with two little legs.
Although I do notice in old timey things, they seem to say appears and things like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they didn't trust their senses that much. Maybe.
Oh no,
Well-
like Kramer here, he's using appeared because he believes that it is like a trick of the brain that the member isn't actually gone.
Well, I'm just saying, like even in just other things, seeing. Well, it appears you are, not of this world, or so. I don't know. It's just something that it just struck me there that appears seems to do a lot of heavy lifting.
This man appears to be suffering from no penisitis.
Yeah.
It's a mental disease.
in the long ago.
Yes.
So here's what Kramer has to say on this. Quote, here is declared the truth about diabolic operations with regard to the male organ. And to make plain-
Isn't that what I do sometimes?
What?
Diabolic operations with regard to the male organ.
I got little horns on it.
That is the best euphemism I've ever heard.
And to make plain the facts in this matter, it is asked whether witches can, with the help of devils, really and actually remove that member, or whether they can only do so apparently by some glamour or illusion, and that they can actually do so is argued a fortiori. For since devils can do greater things than this, as killing them or carrying them from place to place, as was shown above in the cases of Job and Tobias, therefore they can also truly and actually remove men's members. I don't remember this episode of Arrested Development at all.
And I don't remember Job losing his ding-dong in the Bible.
Well,
Hey, oh, man.
maybe it's just one of the trials and tribulations
Like-
he had to go through.
Man, can you imagine finding the Dead Sea Scrolls and like 90% of it, like what got cut is, and then his dick fell off?
It's just etchings of it all over the page.
So what I think you all are talking about is a detachable penis.
Oh, that song.
Now, regarding transforming dudes into animals,
Hell
From
yeah.
what-
Like furries.
many things. So from question 10, Kramer borrows from the second book of sentences, writing, quote, and so St. Thomas shows how this may be done, for he says that all transmutations of bodily matters, which can be affected by the forces of nature, in which the essential thing is the semen which is found in the elements of this world or on land or in waters, as serpents and frogs and other such things deposit their semen, can be affected by the work of devils who have acquired such semen. Also, it is when anything is changed into serpents or frogs, which can be generated by putrefaction. We can't seem to get away from the cum.
Yeah.
Can we?
So they're saying devils can turn you into a frog by giving you a frog cum?
Yeah, so demons are just going into like any old moat where the frogs and fish are spawning, pocketing up the gunk and then sticking it on people or sticking it in the ladies, I guess.
Something.
It's a strange world that Kramer lives in.
Yeah.
I have never seen a man so obsessed with semen outside of D on 4chan.
It's wild. So
I don't know.
anyway,
I've seen there's some artists that have a real
Oh, sure, but
thing for it.
but again, that's on D.
so with that, let's move into the second part of the Malleus. But before that, let's do a break. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I need a shower. That's a good idea.
You also need your podcast cheese.
Yes. We'll be back. Oh, God, no cheese. Not with all the semen talk.
We'll come right back
Oh,
after these messages.
fuck you.
Hey, man, what's got you off in your phone there?
Oh, just going through all the funny Mothman memes and supernatural shit posts I've been wanting to share. I just don't know where to put the posts yet.
Don't you know about the Supernatural Selection Discord?
We have a Discord?
Yeah, for years, dude. Where have you been?
Can people chat with the hosts and get previews of upcoming episodes and generally post funny shit as much as they want with other listeners?
I mean, if that's your bag. I mean, personally, I wouldn't do that, but there are even live streaming events for the shows there, too. You've been in a few. How do you not know this stuff?
It must have been my doppelganger. How do I get into the Discord?
It's easy. Just visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com. Now say that 3 times fast.
Well, that's perfect. Now I can share 3 terabytes of Hollow Earth memes. Get it? Terabytes.
Never mind. Forget I said anything. Just don't do that. You should definitely not visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com to join the Discord. We don't want you there.
Too late. I'm already posting my alien abduction fan fiction with the general chat.
Join the hosts and listeners of Supernatural Selection on the official Discord. Just visit discord.supernaturalselectionpod.com.
And we're back. Now, gentlemen, how do we enjoy Heinrich Kramer's Crazy Train so far? It's certainly moister than I would have thought.
Now, with my podcast, geez. Again, I'm rather shocked at the amount of cum. But then again, it's like every anti-gay Republican getting caught with a dick in their mouths.
Yeah, it's, and here I am, like, obviously I'm picking and choosing, but the funniest bits seem to revolve around semen. That's just how it is.
Well, I think the funniest bit is that you had this much semen to choose from.
Yeah, frogs, toads, snakes, giants, whatever the fuck. How about you, Mike? What do you think so far?
I think I need a mop. And a shower.
Are you going to be a jizz mopper?
I mean, I don't want to, but, there's just so much of it.
Needs to be done.
Well, I've heard of WAP, but Wham, Wet Ass Malleus?
Oh, God.
So, let's get into a central question I want to ask you, gentlemen, for this next segment. How witches do?
But how witches do?
Do witches do the do?
When I asked Holly this, she said we do just fine, so, yeah.
Okay.
With how witches do with gusto.
With gusto.
Another Futurama reference. So,
Yep.
Kramer explores just this question over 28 exhaustive, I'm calling them chapters, but it's like that question-answer thing. Where he's maintaining this question and answer structure that he's been using throughout the first part of the book. So, we'll get into some juicy ones here. Starting with the first chapter of question 1. Quote, of the several methods by which devils through witches entice and allure the innocent to increase that horrid craft and company.
Method 1, Ozzy Osbourne.
Now, Kramer outlines 3 primary methods by which witches fall into witchery. These are basically temporal weariness, carnality, and rejection. Further, to make his case, he refers to incidents he has heard or investigated in his region that he was assigned by the Pope, if we recall his biography. So he spent his time going, traveling this patch of like Germany, Austria, whatever it was, and it's like taking testimonials from people and everything like that. What he does is a lot of these, he provides these testimonials as examples of these things.
I'm about to say something really southern and really old, but he sounds like a murderous CC Rider.
Okay.
A CC Rider was a country circuit rider. It's basically a traveling preacher that will make a circuit through the country. Like, they didn't have their own church and they didn't have their own pastor, so the CC Rider would do the country circuit and do revivals.
Yeah, so
imagine that, but he's killing women.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, it's like every old-timey Depression-era movie, there's always like a revival tent, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That, but burning people.
Yeah, no, I mean, and plus he also had the stick. Don't forget the stick.
Oh, God. Give him the stick, dog. Give him the stick.
So, so, like, he had this writ to go throughout this part of, I think it was Austria, and, like, do his thing, investigate for witchcraft and heresy and that sort of thing. And he also got run out of a couple towns, if we recall.
Yep.
So
good on them.
Right? So, for his example of temporal weariness, which is one of those things that he suggested leads women to become witches, sometimes men, it is possible to have a male witch in his view, but it's generally...
I watched Bewitched.
Yeah, no, it's generally like 99% of the time he's going to be blaming women. So,
and then there's Uncle Arthur. Yeah.
Exactly. So, for his example of temporal weariness, which curiously includes things such as a loss of property, i.e., like there's a temptation of wealth or the loss of wealth or that sort of thing, a lot of this is also very kind of vague. To the point, seem very similar. We'll get to that. The story he cites specifically is such, quote, "We know a stranger in the Diocese of Augsburg, and before he was 44 years old, lost all his horses in succession through witchcraft. His wife, being afflicted by weariness by reason of this, consulted with witches, and after following their counsels, unwholesome as they were, all of the horses which he bought after that, for he was a carrier, were preserved from witchcraft."
Now, before we move on, I want everyone to imagine Orson Welles reading that last paragraph to understand why I find it so funny. We know a stranger in the Diocese of Augsburg, who before he was 44 years old. I'm sorry, it's just I hear the yes always thing, but this.
Yeah. No, I get you, man. So yeah, he's just going to be relaying these different stories. But here in this case, Guy loses all of his horses. That basically kind of ruins him. His wife goes and consults with witches, and now that he's bought horses again, because his wife had consulted with those witches, his horses are fine.
So they're demon horses.
It's more like the nice horses would be a shame if something happened to them. That's the vibe I'm getting here.
Do we know that the witches didn't just poison his horses
right.
and then sell him new horses?
Horse insurance.
It'd be a shame if something happened to these horses.
So that's the first one, that kind of temporal weariness, the property. I find the distinction between this one and the third one kind of a little arbitrary, but I'll have an example of that third one. But let's move into the second one, which is always fun, which is regarding carnality.
Yeah.
Kramer writes, "This, or something like it, is the method which witches use towards honest matrons who are little given to carnal vices but concerned for worldly profit. But towards young girls, more given to bodily lusts and pleasures, they observe a different method, working through their carnal desires and the pleasures of the flesh. Here it is to be noted that the devil is more eager and keen to tempt the good than the wicked, although in actual practice he tempts the wicked more than the good, because more aptitude for being tempted is found in the wicked than in the good. Therefore, the devil tries all the harder to seduce all the more saintly virgins and girls. And there is the reason in this, besides many examples of it." I just imagine him sweating as he's writing that.
Yes. Yes.
And again, like, given his history, this reads more like something in the domain of, like, horny AU fan fiction than anything else. But,
I
yeah, go for it, Kevin.
Yeah, no, so the devil tempts the innocent, but he tempts the wicked more because it's easier, so that's why he tempts the innocent more. The fuck what?
Well, sometimes you eat chicken because chicken's cheaper and more plentiful, and sometimes you want a steak, I guess.
You talked about there being contradictions, but this is a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very messy.
This is in the same sentence.
Like, so he's a messy bitch, and he writes like a messy bitch.
Okay, fair.
So let's dig into this third method, which
please.
That's outlined here. It's kind of it's listed as kind of like sadness and poverty, which feels like it should be part of the first category, given all the dead horses.
I don't know, but I feel seen.
But regardless, here we are. So basically, what he's going for here is the scorned, sad woman trope. Kramer relays a story about such an instance. Quote, "In the time of my youth, I loved a girl who inopportuned me to marry her." Now, this isn't him. This is a testimonial he got from someone. This wasn't Kramer. Right. Yeah. So he's quoting someone. It doesn't list who he quotes here, I don't think. But in the time of my youth, I loved a girl who inopportuned me to marry her, but I refused her and married another girl from another country. But wishing for friendship's sake to please her, I invited her to the wedding.
You dumbass.
She came, and while the other honest women were wishing us luck and offering gifts, she raised her hand, and in the hearing of the other women who were standing round, said, "You will have but few days of health after today." My bride was frightened, since she did not know her, for, as I have said, I had married her from another country, and asked the bystanders who she was who had threatened her in that way, and they said that she was a loose and vagrom woman. Nonetheless, it happened just as she had said, for after a few days my wife was so bewitched that she lost the use of all of her limbs, and even now, after 10 years, the effects of witchcraft can be seen on her body.
So, they got married. This guy was probably a dick. She decided to make him do all the work, and he blamed a woman he probably jilted. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. And it's also funny, like, to maintain friendship, I invited her to the wedding. And
I invited my side piece to the wedding because I thought it was only fair.
And didn't even tell his fucking wife, because his wife like, who's this bitch?
Who's the woman you invited that fucking cursed me at the altar?
It's a very strange story, but it's yeah.
This guy has strange friends.
Oh, this is him. This is just him going around and like asking people, "Hey, seen any witches?" So,
oh my god.
Yeah, no, and that's why this one's kind of like the scorned woman version, but it relates to like sadness and poverty, because obviously to him, this guy who's telling Kramer the story, he was like a meal ticket for this what described as a loose and vagrom woman.
Yeah.
Now, remember earlier when I had mentioned that Kramer stated there were 3 kinds of witches?
Yes.
Yeah, there were those that can heal not through illusory magic, those that can heal, those that can harm not through illusory magic, or something like that, right? It's
there's the healers, the herders, and then the red mages.
It's literally just a guy writing down a wiki document for his fictional setting and coming up with a magic system.
Is there a Malleus wiki?
No, I don't think so. There should be. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Need to get on fandom and start that.
Well, his bullshit goes deeper. So, the second chapter of the first question is titled, "Of the Way Whereby a Formal Pact with Evil is Made."
Oh, yeah.
Now, he writes, "Among those who injure, one class in particular stands out." So remember, there were the 3 classes of witches. Now there are fucking subclasses. We're doing Final Fantasy rules for jobs, apparently. So, one class in particular stands out, which can perform every sort of witchcraft and spell, comprehending all and all that the others individually can do. Wherefore, if we describe the method of profession in their case, it will suffice also for all the other kinds. And this class is made up of those who, against every instinct of human or animal nature, are in the habit of eating and devouring the children of their own species.
Fuck yes, baby eating. We made it. Scientology.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby. So yeah,
I told you the story about the abortion clinic that closed and became a restaurant already, right?
I want to say you have, but I don't remember.
Because they advertised baby back ribs and they end up shutting down not long after.
Fuck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Witches.
Yeah. So we have among the itches, the witches who can injure. That there are those who have all those powers, and they get them by eating and devouring children.
Awesome.
Right.
Mike, how's that make you feel?
Hungry?
No. I mean, I don't like the idea of eating babies.
Can you imagine how fucking delicious the meat of it? You know what? We're not having this discussion. I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, there's a whole essay about it written called The Modest Proposal. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I reference that a lot.
So much of this episode is just me directly quoting passages because I can rarely say anything as insane or unintentionally hilarious as Kramer himself writes. For example, he describes the many, many powers of witches in this passage, writing, quote, "And this is the most powerful class of witches, who practice innumerable other harms also, for they raise hailstorms and hurtful tempests and lightnings, cause sterility in men and animals, offer to devils or otherwise kill the children who they do not devour. They can also, before the eyes of their parents and when no one is in sight, throw into the water children walking by the waterside."
So it's basically just walking along, a kid, Chuck.
They're just pulling a young Frankenstein.
Just yeeting children into the river.
They can make horses go mad under their riders. They can transport themselves from place to place through the air, either in body or in imagination. They can affect judges and magistrates so that they cannot hurt them. They can cause themselves and others to keep silence under torture. They can bring about a great trembling in the hands and horror in the minds of those who would arrest them. They can show others occult things and certain future events by the information of devils. They can see absent things as if they were present. They can turn the minds of men to inordinate love or hatred. They can at times strike whom they will with lightning, and even kill some men and animals. They can make no effect of the generative desires, and even the power of copulation, cause abortion, kill infants in their mother's womb by a mere exterior touch, and they can at time bewitch men and animals with a mere look, without touching them, cause death. They dedicate their own children to devils, and in short, as has been said, they can cause all the plagues which other witches can only cause in part. That is, when the justice of God permits such things to be. This is most powerful of all classes of witches can do, but they cannot undo them. Jesus Christ.
Okay, first off, I think you just described Golden Age Superman. All right. Second, basically, anyone who says a woman isn't a witch is bewitched, and he's the only one who can save them.
And also, like, they cause people to be resistant for torture, so you're going to have to torture them harder.
Just torture the hell out of them.
Also, like, if your horse bucks you, well, it's because a witch cursed your horse.
So
if I like building a house and I accidentally hit my thumb,
that's a witch
curse.
Yeah,
that's a witch.
Oh, okay.
Everything bad that happens is a witch.
You spill salt, a woman's got to burn.
Well,
So
damn.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's a hell of a statement.
Yeah, no, that's again, like, I can't make up shit this goofy. I can't. So, but my friends, how does a rad woman get all these powers, you may ask?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well,
Read the book.
Kramer lays it out pretty bluntly for us. Quote, "Now the method of profession is twofold. One is a solemn ceremony, like a solemn vow. The other is private and can be made to the devil at any hour alone. The first method is when witches meet together in the conclave on a set day, and the devil appears to them in the assumed body of a man and urges them to keep faith with him, promising them worldly prosperity and length of life. And they recommend a novice to his acceptance. And then the devil asks whether she will abjure the faith and forsake the holy Christian religion and worship the anomalous woman, for so they call the most blessed Virgin Mary, and never venerate the sacraments. And if he finds a novice or disciple willing, then the devil stretches out his hand, and so does the novice, and she swears with an upraised hand to keep the covenant. And when this is done, the devil at once adds that this is not enough. And when the disciple asks what more must be done, the devil demands the following oath of homage to himself, that she give herself to him, body and soul, forever, and do her utmost to bring others of both sexes into his power."
Mike, you had something you
I was
wanted
going
to
to
say?
say that at the beginning it sounded almost like a multi-level marketing, like
Yeah, and now it definitely does.
But then they got into the renouncing Christianity and all that. So
Which we don't know that Amway doesn't make you do that.
I mean, I'm sure there's some out there that do. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, the more people below your level, the more powers you get.
The only
Yeah,
God you have is savings.
So, before we move on, I want you two to do me a favor, all right? Imagine, if you will, Kramer just sitting there in the dark with a single candle, imagining all this happening and just furiously cranking his hog.
I mean, like, that was a very detailed, like where did he get this information?
Oh, from his mind.
Well, I mean, like,
and
where
cranking his hog.
Like if he was to like try to justify this and someone was challenging him, where would he say he got this information from?
Steve.
It's very detailed and like a very.
Remember, he comes into town and asks, "Hey, anybody seen any witches?" And then he'll listen to anyone who has something to say.
So in every meeting is the devil saying it's not enough? When is it never enough for the devil?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Meanwhile,
yeah. I know. I've seen pornography with the same plot line.
I have too, and again, just Kramer cranking his hog. That's all this amounts to.
The Malleus Maleficarum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, somebody get our copyright lawyer.
So
and then call our Florida, independent film producer.
Straight out of Hollywood, Florida.
I know a guy, but I haven't heard from him in like 20 years.
With the bad mustache and the big gold chains.
You literally just described the pornographer I used to work with.
That's what I'm saying. That's what our guy in Florida is a pornographer.
I thought you were describing Hip Hop Super Mario.
Florida is the California of pornography.
God damn it.
Hey, yep, that's fair. So, continuing the quote, because that was just part of the quote. The other private method is variously performed. For sometimes when men or women have been involved in some bodily or temporal affliction, the devil comes to them speaking to them in person, and at times speaking to them through the mouth of someone else. And he promises that, if they will agree to his counsels, he will do for them whatever they wish. So,
if I wanted the devil to clean my tub.
Well, it's usually in the case. Did you guys ever see the Robert Eggers movie, The Witch?
No.
Nope.
Okay, number one, go fucking see that movie. It's amazing.
I need to catch up on all of his movies.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue is pulled straight from witch trial transcripts and stuff. It's fantastic.
It must be the season of the witch,
right?
Fuck.
But so this is where familiars and animal shapes representing the devil, or actually being the devil, can sometimes merge into the folklore of witch packs. But we're going to cover that another time. Yeah, this is my year of witch stuff.
Okay, well, here's a question. When are we going to cover fiddle duels with the devil, David?
We should, for April Fools, just take like some thing like
Devil
that.
went down to Georgia.
And just play it completely straight.
Do an episode about it.
So yeah, the amazing thing was he did win against the devil. Or did he?
Well, according to the lore. No.
Maybe that's what the devil wanted.
One scholar, God, who's the guy who made that song?
Charlie Daniels.
Yeah, according to scholar Charlie Daniels.
God damn it.
So a lot of this this part of the book lays out things that have been mentioned previously, so I figured I would just kind of like list some like chapter titles here. All right.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, 'cause, again, like there's like 28 sections here alone.
And
so
this is just in this part of the book, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Next one has like 35.
Fucking Christ.
Right. So chapter 4 here follows the way whereby witches copulate with those devils known as incubi.
You had me at copulate.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
Mike, you were saying something?
I couldn't finish the joke.
Oh.
You had me at here.
Chapter 6. How witches impede and prevent the power of procreation.
But I thought they were copulating.
It's
They're
like that
copulating,
meme.
but they're not copulating.
It's that consent meme. I consent. Well, I don't. So it's just a witch on the side of the bed like, no.
Oh, God.
Kevin, they're not doing the right kind of copulating. They're doing the devil copulating, not the good Christian baby-making copulation.
What about baby eating copula? Anyway.
Yes, well, that's not the good Christian one, is it?
No.
Chapter 7. How, as it were, they deprive man of his virile member.
Then how does he copulate with them?
Chapter 8. Of the manner whereby which they change men into shapes of beasts. Chapter 9. How devils may enter the human body and head without doing any hurt when they cause such metamorphosis by means of prestidigitation.
Okay, I want you to picture what David just said, but it's the amazing Jonathan doing it.
Chris Angel, mind freak. All right. Chapter 10. Of the method by which devils, through the operations of witches, sometimes actually possess men.
Okay.
Chapter 13. How witch midwives commit the most horrid crimes when they either kill children or offer them to devils in most accursed ways. Chapter 14. Here
Jesus.
followeth how witches injure cattle in various ways. Like, I understand the importance of cattle to society at this time and largely all of history, but it's still just, like, so funny to me to hear about the well-being of cattle as, like, a going concern regarding reported witchcraft.
It is kind of funny. I mean, like, well, do you remember that whole thing they talked about demons riding pig carts?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it with, like, farm animals and Satan?
Well, I think that also, like, if we want to get into, like, broader archetypes here, I think all the stuff going on with the weirdness of animals and the witch trial era has now been displaced to, like, UFOs and stuff like that, like cattle mutilations and that sort of thing. I think it's all part of just this natural anxiety about our domesticated cattle.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a Jacques Vallée theory, so...
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It's all the super spectrum.
Yep. Chapter 15. How they raise and stir up hailstorms and tempests and cause lightning to blast both men and beasts.
Now, I am still hung up on how much of this is just Kramer imagining witch sex alone in the dark.
It is very horny, isn't it?
It is shockingly horny.
Now... This is where, like, chapter 1 of the second part of the Malleus. Chapter
Jesus.
2... Yeah, so all these questions were under chapter 1 of the second part of the Malleus, right? Chapter 2 ends up being remedies to many of these afflictions. But I think that we've tarried here long enough. I think what we need to do is take a quick break, and then we'll cover the third part of the book, and the most important to its lasting influence, the actual process of witch hunting and prosecution. So
Finally.
Right?
Get
when
some
are we going to the box
answers.
factory?
I want to go to the screen door factory.
I want to prosecute some witches.
I want to decide who lives and who dies.
Oh, my friends, there will be prosecutions, but we'll get to that in a minute. We'll be right
What
back.
about prostitutions?
Come. Hey, Kevin here. Hope you're enjoying the episode.
Hey, who are you talking to, Kevin?
Listeners of our shows, I also want to let them know that if they're enjoying what we've been doing, they can support us on Patreon.
Oh, Patreon. Were you going to tell them about the early episodes? Also, Patreon-exclusive episodes that can be found there, too?
Well, yeah, I was going to do the whole
yeah, and then there's the other cool stuff, including art, and merch for subscribers, like tote bags, hoodies, shirts, mugs.
Yeah, and
Can you believe people could support us for only $5 a month? You're definitely going to mention that, too, right?
I was. Support Supernatural Selection and the Distraction Hole on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. Visit patreon.supernaturalselectionpod.com to learn more and get started today.
And we're back. So, do you guys still have your virile members? Witches didn't take them from you?
No, but I did have a thought in the break.
What's that?
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend,
Motherfucker.
as a friend, as an old enemy.
Did you seriously just Shatner us?
A little bit. There's a little shat in the cum.
Well, I think someone stole my gold balls, and before either of you say anything, I have a reference for once that is topical with today's youth, and by God, I'm going to use it.
We're hip. We're with it.
We-
I mean, I've been using plenty of Gen Z slang, so.
Yeah, well, I haven't, but I watched Dan to Dan this month.
I have a backwards red baseball cap and a skateboard. I'm hip.
Hello, fellow youths.
I am the youngest one here that makes the closest to, like, actual good Gen Z references, and that's very sad.
Yes.
How do you think it makes us feel?
Well, no, you guys are supposed to be beyond that. I'm the little guy. I'm the young guy now. I have to be hip for us.
Sonny, let me tell you here about this here slang you're using.
My legs are old, my teeth are gray, my ears are gnarled and grizzled.
Jeez. Okay, Grandpa, let's get you back into the podcast. So
It used to snow in the winter.
Oh, God. That's true. It used to snow in the winter.
God damn it. Let's move on before we kill ourselves.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So let's move into the handbook element of all of this garbage. What one might consider witch finding for dummies. Now, generally, I feel that the success and longevity of the Malleus Maleficarum lies in the third and final part, which also happens to be the longest part.
You know, I'm starting to think it's called the Hammer of Witches just because you could fucking beat someone to death with a book.
I'm honestly surprised Kramer did not put that in there.
Yeah.
New meaning to the term, throw the book at him.
Yeah.
So-
No, seriously. I'm picturing like a Warhammer from Skyrim, but instead of the head of the hammer, it's just this fucking book with iron bounds around it.
So here's another thing. This is what, our, like, 4th year of doing this show, and you know what? I realized that we haven't actually checked to see if you guys are witches.
Oh, no.
So yeah, as we run through some of this, I may occasionally check to see if y'all might have been witches the entire time. And I do promise to be as fair and impartial as Heinrich Kramer would handle such an important task.
Mike, we're dead.
Oh, no.
We're fucking dead.
Are either of you two a witch?
Not last time I checked, no.
Okay,
Are you
I'm
Kevin,
sorry.
you were saying something?
I was just going to say, I don't know how to answer that. I'm within reach of a magic wand and have a staff on the other side of the room.
Do you consider yourself a witch?
Does a wizard count as a witch?
That's a good question.
I've got my eye on both of you.
Okay.
You know, I'll check again in a minute. So, so there are 35 fucking chapters to this third part.
God damn it.
I can't hit all of them, but I'm going to cover some highlights. What we need to emphasize here is that the first two parts are his backing, meant to justify the instructions that he lays out in this third part. All right.
Oh boy.
So this is the practical part of the Malleus that like people would actually use. Everything else is just kind of like just the rants of an insane person. They're trying to like find a unification theory about like witchcraft and heresy and also semen and cattle mutilation.
The grand unification theory of the woman that lives down the street that won't put out for me.
That seems like that's kind of the vibe. Again, he had that kind of weird thing going on, especially that one woman that he was accusing of witchcraft.
Yep. He lost that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was kicked out of the fucking trial. So, so in the introduction of the third part, there's this rather telling statement on the part of Kramer, especially given what we know about people finding him insufferable, because that was one of the major descriptors of Heinrich Kramer by other people was he was insufferable.
Right.
He writes, quote, "In the same category they place blasphemers and those who in any way invoke devils, and those who are excommunicated and have contumaciously remained under the ban of excommunication for a whole year, either because of some matter concerning faith or in certain circumstances not on account of the faith, and they further include several other such offenses. And by reason of this, the authority of the ordinary is weakened, since there are so many burdens placed upon us inquisitors, which we cannot safely bear in the sight of the terrible judge, who will demand from us strict account of the duties imposed upon us." So, two things to remember about him from our biographical episode. He was removed from one trial because of his conduct.
Right.
Secondly, he believed inconsequential variations on the Eucharist were blasphemy and heresy. So he's absolutely projecting here. Specifically, the burdens placed upon us inquisitors, which we cannot safely bear in the sight of a terrible judge, who will demand from us a strict account of the duties imposed upon us. Like, dude, you're trying to burn fucking women alive. I would hope that the judge is a little skeptical here. Fuck. He just sounds so hurt.
He's such a dickbag.
Right? Now, to begin initiating a witch trial, Kramer outlines 3 methods. Direct accusation, again, 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Direct accusation of witchcraft before a judge, public denouncement without being, quote, willing to embroil himself in the matter, or trying to avoid punishment from failing to report the details of a crime, or thirdly, an inquisition which there has been a general report of witches in the area. Does any of this sound a little flimsy?
Yeah. And I have a feeling it's going to be real relevant in today's America.
Right? It's almost like Arthur Miller could write a play about this shit. Anyway.
Oh, boy.
Now, here's an important question for you gentlemen. Do you believe in and follow to the letter the teachings of the Catholic Church?
Mike, your mic's off.
No.
I was going to ask, I as well do not follow Cathol.
I just, I'm here listening to, like, the silence of the microphone coming back on, and I'm just imagining, like, a big televised trial where he comes up to the microphone, he leans over and says,
no.
Like he's been subpoenaed. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Your Honor. No, he does. It's like in Forrest Gump where the mic goes out and he does like this long impassioned speech, and then when it comes back on, and that's all I got to say about that.
I do not believe.
Well, I also don't follow Cathol, so.
Well, I mean, us. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
So that's a point against us, I'm sure. In the
Yeah, no.
witch trial.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, my cat is
Losing her damn mind.
Sorry, she just like came up here and like slammed all my shit. She's getting heated.
Oh boy.
So yeah, you two gentlemen said no. So based on question 2 of part 3, I can thereby accuse you of heresy.
Oh.
As such, now you two enter a period of purgation as I gather evidence of your heretical actions and witchcraft, and I seek witnesses. It's not looking good for you guys.
Should I put my magic wand and staff in the other room for this?
No, put them in the bag. Put them in the bag.
In the bag.
Could I change my answer?
Yeah, would you like to testify against Kevin?
Sure.
Hey, fuck you.
Go
Whoa,
for it.
back the fuck up here, son.
I mean, that's a thing. That's part of this. So
Yeah, well, this part of it can fuck itself.
right? Now, one thing that you think might help you out in question is in question 5, which asks whether mortal enemies may be admitted as witnesses. And Kramer suggests that no, testimony from a mortal enemy does not apply. But
Sounds reasonable.
but there are specific considerations. For example, a witness may be dismissed if, quote, and a mortal enmity is constituted by the following circumstances. When there is a death feud or a vendetta against or between the parties, or when there has been an attempted... Huh?
Does the death feud happen a lot back then?
Yeah. Like, why do you think they had duels?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So a death feud or a vendetta. You guys have any vendettas lately?
Me, no, but I do have an arch nemesis.
I think Kevin would have more vendettas than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I hold grudges, but, like, I literally have an arch nemesis.
I don't know. See, because Holly ate the last Philly cheesesteak Hot Pocket, and I declared a vendetta over that. So I may be a little extreme in all of this.
Based.
That's fair.
So if there's been a death feud or a vendetta between the parties, that
Could
accusation could disqualify it, yes. Or when there has been an attempted homicide.
Okay,
I don't think either of us have
I haven't tried to kill Kevin lately, so I can testify against him.
lately.
Or some serious wound or injury which manifestly shows that there is a mortal hatred on the part of the witness against the prisoner.
Okay, I accidentally ran over Mike's toe with a chair wheel this few days ago. Does that count?
Oh, it's not a mortal wound.
Yeah, it wasn't mortal.
It's not necessarily serious either.
You did not inflict upon me life-threatening wounds.
Hey, I don't know your pain tolerance, all right?
So, continuing the quote, and in such a case, it is presumed that just as the witness has tried to inflict temporal death on the prisoner by wounding him, so he will also be willing to effect his object by accusing him of heresy. And just as he wished to take away his life, so he would be willing to take away his good name. Therefore, the evidence of such mortal enemies is justly disqualified.
Well, that's nice.
Well, Kramer writes the following. But there are other serious degrees of enmity, for women are easily provoked to hatred, which need not totally disqualify a witness.
Oh, God.
So all that, unless it's a woman.
Unless you're a woman, because you be crazy and you hate everything irrationally.
Doubling down, he also writes, there are many who are not sufficiently careful and circumspect and consider that the depositions of such quarrelsome women should be altogether rejected, saying that no faith can be placed in them since they are nearly always actuated by motives of hatred.
Anybody else starting to picture this guy as Andrew Dice Clay for some reason?
Oh man, him in that fucking jacket with the glasses and shit.
Yes. No! Yeah.
Hey, it's the Kramer man. So, he also describes women as having, quote, a temperament towards flux and, quote, loose tongues.
Bitch, who wrote a book with, like, the third part having 35 chapters?
Further, they are, quote, defective in all powers of both soul and body.
So women can't be witnesses, but they can be witches. Am I following this right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, ultimately, it comes down to the judge, right? Now, Kramer in the book is suggesting that, mortal enemies, you don't take their testimony, right? It shouldn't be used. But a judge could still do that.
Because judge.
Yeah. Yeah. And then plus just his little hate spring for women here. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of fucked up, right?
Very.
Very much.
Now, another thing to consider is the title of the book itself. How good is y'all's Latin?
Terrible.
I failed Latin in high school.
So not good.
Not as
Okay.
terrible as mine.
Well,
I don't
actually-
know. I didn't fail Latin.
Because you didn't take it.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes mine worse or better.
It's better. Well, no, it's worse because mine, I at least, learned some.
Okay, fair.
So here's the thing. The very title Malleus Maleficarum is feminized. The masculine, or you might even say gender-neutral Latin title would be Malleus Maleficorum with an O instead of an A.
Huh.
So, forgive the horrid pun, but women were already cooked by the book from the start.
Can we all agree Kramer would have had a Joe Rogan-style podcast in the manosphere if he were alive today?
Oh,
Probably.
absolutely. He'd have a place in the administration like that. So,
Yeah.
really, though, it all just kind of boils down to if you can name a mortal enemy, then the judge will determine from there whether their testimony comes from a place of enmity. That seems solid, though, right? Like, that seems fair. But chances are...
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't trust, like, a 15th century judge. You know what I mean?
Right. No, again, Cotton Mather kind of shit. No, I'm not going to trust this guy.
Yeah. So let's get to some questioning, shall we? Now, Kramer lays out the actual trial process in question 6. It's a real crucible.
Ha 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 ha. Very funny.
In this section, he lays out the minutiae of the trial process, focusing on 3 manners. Again, 3.
3. I figured out what that is, by the way. You multiply it by 2, 6s.
I was going to say, like, the Holy Trinity, but I like your more bullshit answer.
Hey, Satan!
Quote, and since, as we have shown, the process is to be conducted in a simple manner, and it is initiated either at the instance of the accuser or of an informer actuated by zeal or by reason of a general outcry and rumor, therefore the judge should try to avoid the first method of beginning the action, namely at the instance of an accusing party. For the deeds of witches in conjunction with devils are done in secret, and the accuser cannot, in this case, as in others, have definitive evidence by which he can make his statements good. Therefore, the judge ought to advise the accuser to set aside his formal accusation and to speak rather as an informer, because of the grave danger that is incurred by an accuser. And so he can proceed into the second manner, which is commonly used, and likewise in the third manner, in which the process is begun not at the instance of any party. So we see what's going on there, right?
It's a lot of words.
Right.
Yeah. My eyes glazed over there for a second.
Yeah,
What?
I know.
What
That's Heinrich Kramer. He's a real writer. So, what we have here in this first part, this first method, this first thing is where you straight up accuse someone of being a witch, and you bring
Okay.
it to a judge. Here's the thing:
Right?
witches work in secret. So, if you accuse someone of committing witchcraft, you have no way to prove it because you are not a witness, because everything's done in secret. How do you know? So, it is then said that you do not make a direct accusation against the witch, but rather come on as an informer. So you come on as an informer for a generalized inquisition. So when Heinrich Kramer's wandering around seeing, hey, seen any witches lately? That's where you step in, because it's not because it's also meant to protect you as well.
So you can't actually do like they did in Holy Grail and grab the woman and bring her to Bedivere.
Right. She's a witch. How do you know? Because she looks like one. No, that's exactly it.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, that's what's going on there. So that's kind of like weird. It's interesting. It's very convoluted, but the main idea
it's
is
stupid,
number one.
But...
Oh yeah, go for it.
No, I just said it's stupid, but...
It protects you from potential retaliation from the accused witch, but
Sure.
also because technically you can't know if they actually did it. You displace that into a more generalized claim that works within the system of the Inquisitor who comes into town.
Right, okay. Gotcha.
So, Mike, I feel like you're not a witch, but speaking of accusations, it turns out, Kevin, there have been quite a number lobbied at you for the crimes of witchcraft most foul.
I'm going to fucking kill you.
So, here begins the trial of Herr Kevin Heyman.
What the fuck?
So first we have from Herr Mad Scott,
What the fuck?
who submits the
You son of
following.
a bitch!
I provide this testimony upon command of the Right Honorable Lord of His Majesty Cheese. Kevin Heyman, age unknown, did unjustly compel me to make him 2 wands.
Son of a bitch!
I was told that these were to be props, but they are for dishonorable dueling.
Okay, first off, I never said they were simply
I'm sorry.
props.
I'm sorry. The accused cannot speak during this portion.
Oh, fuck off.
After delivery of these wands had been discovered that the weather in his area had unexplained changes. I went with 2 assistants and did confront Witch Heyman. The next morning, my assistants were missing, and their places I found field mice. Sir, I don't understand why you're laughing. These are very serious accusations.
If perhaps it's a witch's cackle, sir.
Well, one Burgermeister Kickassatron had this to claim.
Oh, y'all all getting your asses beat.
Vades and gentlefolk of the First Arbitration Rarities Tribunal. I bring upon this day being, insert date, oh, that's for me, on January 9th, 2025.
All right, look, this should be disqualified because the judge is inept.
It sounds like a vendetta, sir.
Take it as you will.
Evidence that one Kevin, alias include Kota Otan, Randrill et al., has been observed to have been partaken in witchcraft in no less than five occasions, and henceforth the evidence shall be read into the record.
Oh, 3 at most.
Firstly, on a clear evening in late summer, Kevin was observed. Your honors must understand how clear it was. Kevin took in a great whiff of the air and stated that it smelled like rain. And I shitteth thou not. That within the hour it was raining, quite drastically, your most esteemed honors.
It smells like rain!
You say one accusation of country divination is simply not enough to convict one of witchcraft. Well, then, fair people of the fart court, I would present you Exhibit 2. This instance I can only call the inexplicable dance of the cider barrels when, just the last Sunday of July several years past, as Kevin sipped some cider and then moved his hand into a jaunty motion right in the town square, no less, your excellencies of the court, only to have a sudden gust of wind cause the town's cider barrels to come tumbling down yonder hill and finish in a perfect pyramid to an otherwise still day with no wind.
All right, that was the one power. That's completely different.
Good sir, you might say. That doesn't seem physically probable. Well, to that I say, that's exactly what I said at the beginning of all this. I beg your mercifulness to bid me just 3 more examples of this knave's cunning litmus test for Kevin's sorceress ways.
Sons of bitches.
Last week, it's been told that this podcast man who listens before you was able to defeat the town's wrestling champion in a match.
What?
Lasting in under a minute. His explanation, leverage in physics. But we all saw the eerie glint in his eyes and heard him whisper strange syllables before the match began. It is clear he summoned demonic strength to win.
Okay, I was chanting, oh, what an ass I am, okay?
But perhaps you are a superstitious group who believes in such things as leverage in physics.
Shit.
Your gracious overseers of this tribunal, I tell you I saw with my own eyes that during the Great Cheese Rolling Festival, Our friend Kevin here displayed his prowess of wind manipulation by causing his wheel of cheese to, and I swear, roll it up a hill.
Man, y'all need to lay off me with this cheese stuff, all right?
My last piece of evidence lies in veiled and whispered tales of Kevin being out at night when shadows dance, creating much havoc amok all throughout town. Why, one night he even caused everyone to turn against each other, claiming that he had broken a spell on all of us. So, my varied levels of esteemed honors, I present to you all this evidence to you that the one known as Kevin is in fact a witch and should be dealt with forthwith by weighing him against a duck and dealing with a manner most deemed fit by this fart court.
You sons of bitches.
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. Like, we picked up a lot of evidence about this. So, here's yet another testimony. This one from Frau Alibert.
Oh my god.
And this is an excerpt from my transcription of my interview with her. Well, that's funny, because we actually have some credible accusations of witchery against you, Herr Heyman. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That is a transcription error on my part, because I copy-pasted things incorrectly.
Yep. Fantastic.
Yep, okay, here we go. That's it. All right. I am aware that Sir Kevin Heyman, better known as Razmataz the Elder, keeper of the Sacred Fromage, KSF, has committed witchcraft. He claims to be the son of a lich and a giant robot man. He has openly admitted multiple times that he has magic wands in his possession, along with other items such as tarot cards and books that preach the teachings of false gods.
Yeah, Mike can back me up. I am the son of a lich.
He practices chaos magic and has tried to teach others his wicked ways, such as myself.
I'm gonna kill all of you.
After refusing his offer, he cursed me to cause chaos wherever I went against my will. He has sold his soul to the devil in order to take the form of a moose at will. He claims to be talking about sausages when he says Vienna, but he is actually casting a spell that causes others' blood pressure to rise.
God damn it.
His own kin kills tarantulas when bitten by them.
Okay, that's true.
In secret, he puts ketchup in the shape of a pentagram on people's sandwiches.
That was once.
Lastly, he has caused individuals to be unable to speak correctly with what he calls the Mumby's curse.
Okay, look. Fuck y'all.
I mean, I'm sorry, man. A lot of people came out against you here.
Uh-huh.
So, Frau Dusty also delivered some serious accusations.
Oh, we're gonna have to have couples therapy after this.
Upon mine oath did I behold Kevin and the fruits of his wicked machinations, wrought through dealings with the devil himself. All the day proceeding as he did traverse his daily labors, a foul stench of sulfur and brimstone did fashion a cloud of nefarious magic that lingered in his wake. One whiff and we were all filled with the dread and sickness.
God damn it. Look, I can't, look.
He just had cheddar peppers that day, okay?
I have gas problems sometimes.
Well, here's yet another accusation. This time,
how many fucking people did you go to?
There were a lot of people who wanted to speak out. I'm sorry, that's just the nature of supernatural selection in Shireville.
Many are upon ye wicked influence.
So we have yet another accusation, this time from Frau Lenora.
God damn it.
In this
My old mods turn against me.
In this January the 7th of the year of our Lord 2025, I, Lenora the Maid, do hereby swear that Kevin Heyman, otherwise known as Kevin of the Apocalypse, or Coda, Disaster Boy, Lord Kevin of Beef Wellington, and most reverently, Razmataz the Elder, did have attempted to tempt myself and others away from the light of the god, and to the following of his pagan whore deity known as Eris. Specific actions include, but are not limited to, readings of his holy book on publicly accessible airwaves, holding what amounted to a history lesson on the origins of his cult, performing the induction ceremony to be understood by this trial as a mockery of baptismal rites.
Fuck. This one might stick.
On multiple occasions, speaking denouncement and slander against the Holy Church, as well as ascribing deviant acts and the shelter of hellspawn that are not earthly origins to the Holy Church. I believe that's speaking of cats.
I'm wondering if that's got something to do with the Vatican archive.
Fair enough, yeah. And to all of these crimes, I swear to the accuracy of. And then, finally...
Yeah, we're going to have to start changing some roles on the Discord server.
Finally, your neighbor, Herr Darth Plato, has filed
Judas!
a list of grievances that I shall read forthwith.
Judas Iscariot!
First off, he smells like a witch.
Oh, fuck off!
What's more, he killed Henry Kissinger, which I think we can all finally admit could only have been done by witchcraft.
Okay, I should get a medal for that one.
He enrolled me in Columbia House Records without even knowing my address. Now I own so many of these Loose Balloon CDs, my God, there must be at least 98 and the thrift shops won't even take them.
God damn. Look, it was a penny.
He turned my bratwurst into a Steuben tiger, but then he couldn't turn it back again. Like, what is this?
God damn it.
He makes Hawaiian pizza work for like half the population. I don't know how, but like obviously witch stuff.
No, that is not me. I don't know who that is, but that is not me.
He turned my wife into an old sea captain.
Okay, I did do that.
I saw him cook and eat children one time in his gingerbread house. True story.
They were jelly babies.
He turned an old sea captain into my wife, but it wasn't my wife.
Okay.
And finally, he smells like a fucking witch. So,
damn it.
As you can see, we have amassed a very substantial amount of claims against you, sir. How do you plead?
I plead you're all fucked. Innocent. Wait, hang on. Guilty, but with reasons.
So, I just figured we'd have a little fun with that.
But you didn't hear my testimony.
Oh God.
Shit.
Mike, A2 Brute.
I swear that one time, in passing me by, he gave me the evil eye.
I do that to everybody.
And the next day, when I awoke, I had a boil on me bum.
Mike, that's been there.
He's a witch, I tell you. And he turned me into a newt.
A newt?
Well, I got better.
Fuck all of you.
I'm just so happy I got to do that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Man, Man, that's a lot of people willing to burn me alive. I'm going to remember that.
You know, obviously we have fun with that, but also, like, that's kind of how this shit worked.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
what got me was the sheer number where it's like, well, fuck, I actually did that one. Shit. And at no point did I tell Mad Scott that these were props.
So yeah, that was fun. So let's get back to Heinrich Kramer, shall we?
I guess so.
So with testimony laid out and people coming up and you know, making their claims to the Inquisition and everything like that, it comes time to further question the accused, the witch. Here is some of what you had to look forward to if you're moved into this step of the trial process. So Kevin, this is what you have to look forward to.
Okay.
And it should be begun in this way, I'm quoting here. While the officers are preparing for the questioning, let the accused be stripped. Or, if she is a woman, let her first be led to the penal cells and there stripped by honest women of good reputation.
Penal.
And the reason for this is that they should search for any instrument of witchcraft sewn into her clothes, for they often make such instruments, at the instructions of devils, out of the limbs of unbaptized children, for the purpose being that those children should be deprived of the beatific vision.
Hey, are you telling me that I had the option of a baby finger wand?
This isn't helping your case, sir.
Oh, right. Sorry, shit.
Excuse me. And when such instruments had been disposed of, the judge shall use his own persuasions and those of other honest men, zealots for the faith, to induce her to confess the truth voluntarily. And if so, here it's just straight up like he's acknowledging at first that like a witch could be male or female, but he then kind of just locks in on the women here.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. Let's see. And if she will not, let him order the officers to bind her with cords and apply to her some engine of torture. And then let them obey at once, but not joyfully, rather appearing to be disturbed by their duty.
Appearing to be.
So
That's
y'all do this, but don't look you're happy about it.
Don't smile at them.
Exactly. That's the most fucked up part of all this right here, I think.
Yeah. Act like you're not enjoying
No matter
it.
how much of a hard-on you have, act like you don't.
I just picture them with these dour faces and just raging erections.
Jesus. Then let her be released again at someone's earnest request and taken on one side, and let her again be persuaded. And in persuading her, let her be told that she can escape the death penalty. Now,
You know, if you admit it, we won't kill you.
If you turn on somebody else, we won't kill you.
further on, quote, but if neither threats nor such promises will induce her to confess the truth, and then that's the question, right? What is the truth?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the answer they
Well,
are
they know
looking
the
for?
truth. The truth is she was a witch.
Then the officers must proceed with the sentence, and she must be examined, not in any new or exquisite manner, but in the usual way.
The
Lightly
usual way.
lightly or heavily according to the nature of her crime's demands. And while she is being questioned about each several point, let her be often and frequently exposed to torture, beginning with the most gentle of them. For the judge should not be too
Gentle
hasty
torture.
to proceed to the graver kind. And
Just gently torture her.
Yeah, you gotta ramp it up.
just don't do under every
They'll-
fingernail, just one fingernail at a time.
Just a little
Right.
light spanking.
As a treat.
Oh boy. And while this is being done, let the notary write all down how she is tortured and what questions are asked and how she answers.
God, notary, it's making me think of my aunt watching all this happen. But is anybody else imagining like a hair metal video from the 80s?
A little,
Not
little more
particularly.
torture than I'm acquainted with in those videos.
See you in hell!
Do you think Heinrich Kramer would have loved the Saw movies?
God,
I think so, yeah.
he
I-
would have like his attraction to them would have been made him question his faith. Like,
God-
how could I be so?
Guys,
These devil movies had still virility in me.
Yeah, I just picture him getting back to his own time from watching it and walking up to a witch. Do you want to play a game?
yeah, I feel like there's a t-shirt idea here where it's like a little Heinrich Kramer doll on a tricycle.
Oh, God. Oh, that's great.
All right, continuing. Quote, and note that if she confesses under torture, she should be taken to another place and questioned anew so that she does not confess only under the stress of torture.
Only the stress of torture.
She should confess under the stress of, I don't know, anything else.
Being deprived of ice cream.
The next step of the judge should be that if after being fittingly tortured, she refuses to confess the truth, he should have the other engines of torture brought before her and tell her that she will have to endure these if she does not confess. If then she is not induced by terror to confess, the torture must be continued on the second or third day, but not repeated at the present time unless there should be some fresh indication of its probable success.
Okay, we need to start a band and name it Engines of Torture.
You know what a real engine of torture is?
What?
Subaru Flat 4.
I thought you were going to say a Wankel rotary engine.
I don't know. Also, I won't get into that. I derailed enough. Go ahead.
Okay.
Again, like, this is incredibly fucked what's going on here. So, again, they're specifically looking for that answer of, yes, you're a witch, or they're trying to get them to pin it on somebody else. And the psychological element of this, of then bringing out these other tortures, like
I think you had it bad now.
yeah,
Look what we got in store for you, honey.
Look,
like-
we don't want to use the flesh ripper, but we will if we have to.
it's like it'd be like a SNL skit about the Inquisition where there's like 3 doors, And, what's behind door number 1?
God,
Oh, it's
Monty
the vaginal
Hall
pair.
Inquisition.
Oh, you could do like a whole sketch just about the Monty Hall paradox thing with the Spanish Inquisition.
Oh,
Monty
yeah.
Hall Inquisition paradox.
Oh my
Much
God.
like what Monty Hall did, the Inquisition was quite a show.
That would have been quite the sight.
So,
A lot less goats, though, I'm hearing.
so yeah, I mean, it's, and the fact that, like, don't torture on the same day unless you're sure it's going to work.
God damn it.
And yeah, here's the thing. I've gone to a museum that had a big torture exhibit. And I think one day I just want to do an episode on just, like, torture. Like,
Sure, you sick fuck.
It's incredible. Just the stuff that we used to do to people.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was done for this specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and note, this is just the first day of questioning.
God damn.
All the while, court-assigned scribes would record your every word and scream. Right?
Fuck.
So it's like whenever you find, like, a record or something in, like, a video game, and they're just, like, they trail off with an ah. That's when that actually happens, is in this situation. So, additionally, if a woman did not cry during the trial, then that was sufficient evidence to suggest that they were, in fact, a witch.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. Now, torture varied greatly across the witch trials, and a lot of these things are things I want to explore in individual trial records. So I don't want to dwell on this element too much, but I also think, an episode that covers various methods for uncovering witches to various forms of punishment could be interesting. So we're going to kind of drift from here. But what I do want to share here is that confessions under torture were not considered unmissable unless the torture was ceased, the accused taken elsewhere, and then they repeated their confession. If they failed to repeat the confession, the torture would be continued on a different day, though not a repeated form, but a new form of torture. Does anyone see a problem with this?
Several.
Okay. Name them.
The torture, for one.
Yeah, I was going to say, everything about this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, torture is a very bad way of getting information out of people. Like, hideously bad. Like it's proven that it just does nothing but make the person want to say anything to make it stop, yet we continue to think, oh, it works.
It just, the cognitive dissonance of having that idea that, like, okay, she admitted under torture, let's take her to another room and have her repeat her statement. Like, that's, it just, again, it's the cognitive dissonance. Like, the torture is still fresh on their mind.
Oh, yeah.
The pain is still there. They're probably still bleeding and bruised.
Sure. I want to meet the one that didn't repeat the confession. Like, they get her into the next room and they're like, all right, could you repeat your confession? Go fuck yourself. I want to meet her.
I have a book of just, like, a bunch of different witch trial transcripts, and I'm going to be doing some episodes where we're kind of go over some of those transcripts and, like, the histories of that sort of thing. And I do recall, I think, at least one instance of something like that.
I'm going to have to start smoking pot before we do that. Like, I don't smoke, but, like, I might have to take up the habit.
Right. So with that said, Kramer's book here is thorough, suggesting judgments for all kinds of circumstances. For example, he outlines 6 methods of sentencing based on varying degrees of suspicion. So you didn't have to prove the person was a witch, necessarily. There had to be that plausibility of them being a witch, and there was different degrees by which you could punish someone. And these degrees ranged from defamed to light suspicion to gravely suspect.
Gravely suspect.
The fucked up one is to light suspicion. To be lightly suspicious, she's a witch.
She does have a pointy hat.
She does have a wart on her nose. Now, Kramer further outlines sentencing guidelines for specific circumstances, such as a lack of penitence, relapsed heretics, or those who escape imprisonment, like jailbreakers.
Fuck.
Now, again, this gets rather absurdly specific, such as in the case of question 29. Quote, the method of passing sentence upon one who hath confessed to heresy, but is impenitent, although not relapsed.
Is there anything about when someone is innocent in this fucker?
Honestly, not really.
We talk about innocent. Do you think any of these people are innocent?
Like, again, like, the whole premise is you want them to confess to the truth, but the truth is what you want to hear, that they are a witch or they know a witch.
God, I hope this guy's smoking a turd in hell.
So, again, I want to emphasize that I am glossing over so very much here. This is a very dense document, and there is a lot to mention. Consider this kind of like a highlight reel of Kramer's paranoid, obsessive view and the meticulousness of evil. Now, something I've been toying with is maybe doing a special series for our Patreon, a kind of book on tape, if you will, of me reading the Malleus chapter by chapter, either with my raw thoughts and reactions, or torturing the two of you by reading it to you in a bad German accent. We'll see. Let's see what the audience demands.
Oh, boy.
But anyway, that's it for now. I'm thinking we may return to the text in the future in some capacity, probably as I cover other witch trials and how they align with what was laid out in the Malleus.
Read it as Orson Welles, you fucking coward.
I would have to develop the voice.
Okay, fair.
So that means just watch a lot of Pinky and the Brain and just get the brain voice.
Exactly.
Yeah. As much as we mock the book, the author, and the general beliefs present between the two, I do believe that if any book could be considered to be evil, this one certainly is in the running for that designation.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about the scale of horrors associated with the Malleus, but those are often just statistics, right? When we in the first episode on Kramer, we gave some numbers about the number of women who died, right? I think to get into this, really, we need to move from the statistical to the testimonial. So for 2025, I'm leaning into a year of witch trial episodes on my part of the show. I don't think that's all I'm going to cover this year, because especially the internet seems to be wanting me to do Dead Internet 4 with all the bullshit going on.
That.
Yeah. But it feels important to dig deeper into all of this witch trial stuff, especially given today's climate. So, Anyway, Happy New Year, guys. Thoughts?
Mike, you go first. Fuck. I mean, we all knew witch trials were fucked up, but this is even just this is just the instruction book for the witch trials. It's not.
This isn't even the trial.
This isn't even what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is just kind of like, hey, if we got witches, this is what you need to do.
Yeah, it's not happy.
And the thing is, like, the part of the book that has the most impact is this third part, which is all procedure. It's like a fucking OSHA manual of how to like kill people. But like, it's the thing that I find so insidious is those first two parts, because it gives Kramer his philosophy that is then manifested in this really fucked up third part.
It's a fucking handbook on cognitive dissonance so you can kill someone.
Yeah, it's fucked, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I've been reading a lot of books on magic or magic.
Again,
lately.
Not helping your cause, by the way.
Motherfucker, I'm already burned at the stake. Let's move on. But yeah, for the show, and that's usually considered evil, by church and what have you.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Most of it involves masturbating, burning paper, and doing rituals because it seemed like a fun idea, and then dressing up in goofy outfits. What none of it has involved is torturing a woman for days on end until you get a false confession. You do the fucking math.
Like the way that you described, like, you know, the masturbation, burning paper, doing something because it seems fun, dressing up in fun ways, that just sounds like people who go, like, to LARPs.
It also kind of sounds like there should be an upside-down pineapple, but nonetheless, the point is, it's just fun, you know. That's all. All the books I'm reading are saying only do magic if it sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, great, okay. Meanwhile, let's set them on fire if they do it.
And I find, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were going to get into more like magic stuff this year as well.
I am.
Episodes.
This is our year of woo.
So we almost are doing that kind of like, you lay out premises and then I hit you with the objection.
Yes.
With the witch trials and stuff like that. So
wait. You hit me with the
objection. Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there are very few books I would consider to be evil. This is among them.
Yep. It's certainly one of the worst things we've talked about as far as impact goes.
And it's our first episode of 2025. All right.
You son of a bitch. You should be set on fire. Well, David, thank you for this one. It was entertaining and awful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any other way to put it.
As my episodes tend to be.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Actually, the thing is, I think that kind of sums up a lot of our episodes.
Yeah.
So,
did you enjoy the little bit where I got all of your friends to provide testimony against you?
Well, I just posted in the Discord, you're all fucking traitors, so, but no, it was really funny.
It just out of pocket, I'm just imagining that message, everybody's like, what the fuck just happened? And a lot of them knowing like, oh, okay, that just happened.
Yep. Oh, boy. So, thank you, everyone, for listening and taking part this time, you sons of bitches. So, next week we're going to be back with some Weekend Weird, and David, you inspired me for my next episode. I'm doing giants.
Ooh. Well, I mean, get a stepladder first, but...
Well, God damn it. God damn it. Okay, again, thank you everyone for listening. David, have you got any plugs?
Yes, actually. I think I've mentioned in the other show my interest in the public domain.
Yes.
You know, like with last year, or like I think it was last year, like Mickey Mouse became public domain. Specifically Steamboat Willie. Well, this year was Popeye, and I love me some old-time cartoony fights. So I have launched a comic called Steamboat Sailor Brawl. It is free to read. It updates a couple times a week, and the whole idea is just like Letterkenny, but with Popeye and Steamboat Willie beating the shit out of each other. It's going to be one long fight scene I do throughout the year. And I'm very excited. I've gotten some pretty good buzz on it. It's a lot of fun, and I love writing dialogue as Popeye.
What? Yeah, I can see that. I still think it'd be funny if, Popeye's got the spinach, but I think it'd be funny if Mick got his powers from scotch.
And that's entirely possible. The first shot of Mickey in this is him slugging back a bottle of scotch. So that's the general vibe here.
Yeah,
I was just so happy that I was able to come up with fisticuffs.
Yeah, that was. I was impressed with that.
But yeah, that's my big promotion, my big plug. So.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, have you got anything you want to plug?
Nope.
One day, you're going to surprise us.
It's just I just imagine him again. It's like he's at a court trial and he leans in the mic. No.
Yeah, just no. Well. If you would like to learn more about the show, head to supernatpod.rocks. That is supernatpod.rocks. You can find a link to the Discord, our store, our Patreon, and every episode of both the series, and I believe there's also a link to our YouTube channel if you get your podcast that way. So, we will be back next week with some Weekend Weird. So, until then, stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye.
Someone get me my matches. It's time to work out.
Hide your McGick. Hide it.